Welcome to Destination Unknown with Doreen podcast. This is episode 3, and I have my guest here, my friend Yvonne. I'm so glad that we can get on here and conversate. And this topic is going to be Africans in America. Hello, Yvonne.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Don't be shy.
This is my first podcast.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm glad that you're able to come on here. So I just wanted to come on here and just talk about like our experiences in America as Africans.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people should know, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when were you born here? Or like talk about yourself, like just give me like a little detail, like a background of yourself.
Okay. Well, so I was born in Tanzania. My mom is Tanzanian and my dad is Rwandan. And
shout out to Tanzania.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I moved to the U.S. when I was 4 years old, just about to turn 5. So I've been in the U.S. for most of my life.
Yeah.
So,
Would you say that you're like kind of like almost Americanized or not?
Oh, I'm very American.
Yeah.
I get it all the time from like my parents and all my relatives. Like, oh, you're so Western. Yeah,
so
no,
Western.
I get it all the time. Oh no, I know I'm very Americanized. That's why I think also like the African experience in of itself is just so different as well for each African, because
That's
like
true.
you have Africans who were born here, you have Africans who like me who lived in Africa for a very short period, then most of my childhood was here, right? And then you have Africans like yourself where you come much later in life, like my parents even, they come much later in life, so it like differs like that too, because I think I don't know, it makes a difference. It makes
does,
a difference, based on when you come here.
So did you move here to Arizona like when you came here, or did you move to the East Coast? I feel like a lot of Africans that I've met are like, oh, usually like on the East Coast. So I'm like always shocked when I meet Africans here, but I know there's Africans obviously on the West Coast as well.
See, that's so funny that you say that, because in my experience, a lot of the Africans I've met are from the West Coast, because I grew up in the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
So like when we first moved here, we moved to Idaho actually.
Idaho.
Northern Idaho. Exactly how it sounds is how it was. Yes, Idaho. We moved to Idaho because my mom, she got a student fellowship to come here and like study to get her PhD.
Wow.
At the University of Idaho. So
that's amazing. How was it over there?
Amazing.
How was it living in Idaho? I don't even know what. I just feel like it's just like a small town. Like, I don't even know, like...
It's the land of potatoes.
Oh, the land of potatoes. Did you just eat potatoes all the time?
No, actually, that's funny. Because whenever I tell people I'm from Idaho, they're just like, oh, potatoes. And then I'm like, well, no, because the area I grew up in, we weren't even known for potatoes. We were known for lentils. But that's besides the point. Anyways, like, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
But, Idaho. And I grew up in a really small, like, university town. Very, very small. Like, when I say small, the population was less than 20,000 people, and the university made up for, like, half of the population in the town.
Oh, wow.
So when the students were in town, like, the population went up to 40,000. But then when they left, it just went back down. And you could literally, like, there's only one main street, and if you had a car, you can go from one end of town to the other within, like, 10 minutes. So that's how small of a town it was.
Were there any Africans in that town at all? Did you know any Africans at all?
Surprisingly, there were, and that's only because of the university. Because the university, without the university...
Did you guys get lost? Let me know.
Surprised, because that's how my parents got there, right? Because of the university. Like, if it wasn't for the university, we had no business in Idaho. None at all. But
you're this Africans, you have no business in Idaho.
Yeah. No, but they had like a really strong like international program, so there was a lot of like foreign students at the university, surprisingly enough. But yeah, it was, I don't know how to explain Idaho. It was, at the end of the day, it was my hometown. I grew up there, and I do have a lot of fond memories and stuff. But
how long were you there for?
Most of my life, until I was 18 years old, and I moved.
And then you guys moved here to Arizona?
So essentially that's how it went. But so after I graduated from high school, I actually went to a school in Washington first, and then I transferred over to U of A later, because my family moved down here, and I was like, oh, let me just move down with them, Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So how would you say like your experience is over here, like in America?
Where do we even begin?
So like what kind of friends do you have? Do you only like hang out with Africans, or do you like do you like experience like different people? Because I know a lot of Africans that, especially on the East Coast, like they just hang out with just Africans.
Yeah.
And then to me,
a lot of
always,
East Africans are like that. I feel like they really stick to themselves.
Yeah, but I always tell myself, I'm like, I don't just want to, like, I just came from Africa. What makes you think that I just want to hang out with Africans? I came to the United States so I can match with like a bunch of people. So like to me, it's just like I can't just hang out with Africans. But my sister hung out with nothing but Africans. I'm like, okay, you do that, girl.
See, yeah, no, I envy you because honestly, that was not my experience at all. Because I grew up in very white areas.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a whole lot of diversity where I grew up. Yes, we had like exchange students and we had foreign people because of the university and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a big population, if that makes sense. It was still fairly small compared to the general population. And so I really didn't start interacting. Like I didn't really start having African friends outside of like relatives and like family friends until I entered college.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
And until I like really moved down, because when I entered college, that's when I started interacting with people that like weren't just family based.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, I feel
yeah. So yeah, I had a very different experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So how were you treated? Do you feel like you were treated? Because my experience here, like I've heard like my friends who are born here, who are Black Americans, they tell me that they are treated differently here. But I feel like, especially from like Caucasian people, and for me,
Caucasian people.
should I say white people?
I don't.
I mean,
the melanin deficient.
yeah. Stop it.
I'm kidding. Okay, yeah.
It's a joke, okay? Is it?
Okay.
But for me, it's like, I mean, so in school, right? I went to a French international school, and yes, there were Africans, and I feel like I hung out with everyone, right? But the French international school was like kind of cliquey. So it's like the white girls kind of hung around with themselves. They were like the popular, and the light skinned ones too. Like they were like the popular. So like didn't match with people who came in who were new, especially if you like didn't act like them. But I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna come over and take over. Oh,
yeah.
So to be honest, I always went through the guys. Because like to be honest, like a lot of the girls, especially like a lot of the girls that I've met that I'm really good friends with, I feel like I've met them through my guy friends. Like that's how I'm usually like really good friends with the like Caucasian women. I feel like it's because there's always a guy who I'm really good friends with who brings me into the group and introduced me to it.
Where was your school? You said you went to a French international school. Where?
Yeah, it was in Bethesda, Maryland.
Oh wow. That's
so like
cool.
yeah, so like anybody who spoke French goes there. Like, and it's crazy because like there were Asians too who spoke French.
Yeah.
So pretty much like if you worked it was pretty much like a lot of diplomats, people who worked for the World Bank, like. Those are the kids who went there. Like, fuck
holy crap. Okay, Doreen.
Loaded
going
as
to
hell.
French international schools. I see you. No, I went to public schools, my man.
It's so funny because I've never like my first public school was the American high school, like high school. That was it. Everything else was always private. Like the school that I went to in Burundi was private. It was like a non-school. Ugh. Don't remind me that nonsense.
Okay.
And then because I used to hate on them because they would always make the girls cut their hair, but they had like this afros behind their veils. I'm like, they're nonsense. What? I was like, yeah. But yeah, like, so I've always felt like a lot of girls were only okay once a guy brought me in, and it was just like, okay, that's weird, but like. But sometimes I feel like they only want to be friends with me because they want to keep me around to make sure that I don't take their boy. But I'm like, okay. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really like, it's like, I see all these Karens and stuff like that, but it's like, I've never had anybody come at me like a Karen, you know?
But it seems like to me that you grew up in a lot more of a diverse area.
That's true,
stuff.
yeah.
Because I had a very different experience growing up. The people I grew up around, they were very sheltered, very closed-minded, and they didn't really know much about the world. And it showed. It definitely showed. I'm not gonna lie. And again, like I'm not gonna say that everything was bad growing up in Idaho, because I did find, my like little group of friends and stuff that kind of helped me with it and stuff. But No, I would, if I ever had kids, I wouldn't raise them in Idaho,
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say.
Neither would I. Okay. I don't want to just feed them potatoes. Okay.
Yeah, because it was a very different experience for me. I always felt like an outcast growing up in school, because
Me
I
too.
was like, I was literally I was the only dark-skinned black girl at my all the time.
Really?
All the time, yeah. And there were like 3 other black kids at the time. And I mean, this is not even including, I have to just not include my brother, right? If I include my brother, that makes it 4.
Yeah, 4.
But yeah, there were like 3 other black kids. And one of them was actually African. I remember our families were like kind of close because their family was also East African. They were Ethiopian.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then the other 2, they were mixed. And one of them was adopted by a white family. Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I was the only like very obviously black person.
Like, were kids like mean? Were kids mean to you at all? Do you feel like you were ever treated differently from other kids just because you're like, yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Like, especially, yeah, I mean, I think honestly, this is going to sound so bad, but I've literally like blocked so many memories in my head. Like if I try to think about certain things, I just don't, I can't think about it.
Can't,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, definitely. Like, and this isn't to say that it really affected me, because I was a really reserved kid anyways, and I was just like, I like to hang out by myself anyway, so it didn't affect me that much, but I noticed, I noticed the comments, and I noticed, especially when I had my hair in certain ways, people would like talk about it, and it wasn't until like I hit like high school, I want to say, all of a sudden being black became cool, and now the same people who were like, who made comments about my hair.
It's still like that, okay?
Like they started, all of a sudden, it became cool, and I was like, okay, that's weird, but okay.
That's crazy.
Keep the same energy, but okay.
I feel like I definitely relate to you in your story when you say like you felt like you were the outcast.
Yeah.
Because granted there were Africans there, but like I feel like because I was a new kid and I came in like it was already half of the year, so I didn't come in like at the beginning of the year, like when school started. So I came in February. School had already started. So here I come, and then these people, literally, people used to be like, "You've heard of Puff Daddy?" And I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, I didn't live in the freaking village in Burundi, okay? I lived in the suburbs. I'm like, yeah, and then like people would ask me, was like, have you ever seen white people? And I'm like, yeah, like one of my neighbors was like a Caucasian. Like I had this family who lived right next door, and they had a Caucasian kid, and they adopted these Asian kids as well. Mm-hmm. So the Asian kids ended up coming like a year later. And I was like, well, what is going on here? But so like just having that experience with those Caucasians, it was like for sure, like I think it made me being open. Because in Burundi, if you go to Burundi, especially if you go in the village where your grandparents are like far away from the suburbs, they'll be like, they're scared of white people. They really are. So they actually call it like, they'll be like, if white people went to the village, they'd be like, oh my God, there's a monster here. So like, so the kids will go and hiding.
Oh,
and I'm like, no, calm down. They're not.
I mean, but
I get it because the Belgium like colonized our
What
country.
does history tell us?
I get it. I know.
Valid. Okay.
But for me, I've never been scared. I was just like,
yeah.
I know like whenever we seen each other, like me and my neighbor, we were both curious about each other.
Yeah.
So we would always meet somewhere halfway. And sneak out to go hang out and see while our parents were working.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like having that experience was like made me open to, it's like, okay, there's more than like just black people in Burundi, right?
Yeah.
But like definitely coming to the French International School, seeing all these different people and knowing that they all spoke French, I was like baffled. I was like, what nonsense.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I feel like I had the reverse experience from you, because I don't really remember much of like Tanzania. I only have like bits and flashes and
you were
stuff.
4. I mean, even
I was 4, yeah. And so my whole childhood was here. So it wasn't until I left Idaho and I realized that the world was more than just white people. Like literally, I realized that, holy crap, there's more people than
there's
just...
more people,
yeah. Yeah. And I remember I would get so excited, especially when I first started college. I would get so excited when I saw someone who looked like me, because it was so few and far in between when I would and like I would literally, if I saw someone in my town who looked like me, I would know them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I knew that they were a family friend, they were literally a relative, like, like it's so. Yeah, that's really interesting.
How was your experience with blacks from here?
From here?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's interesting.
Would you say like do you have a lot of girlfriends or friends who are like from
Black Americans?
Yeah, Black Americans.
No, honestly.
No?
Yeah, everyone, Ari.
Yeah.
Literally,
To be
Ari
honest,
is like one of the closest person that, because again, I grew up in very white areas.
Yeah,
like
that's
I just
true,
didn't get the
But
chance.
how about in college though? Like
even in college, like the people, I joined stuff like BSU, and I remember even in BSU, the majority of the Black people in BSU were of African heritage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
Oh
really
my God,
interesting.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
most of them are of African heritage. Like, but no, some of them were Black Americans and stuff like that. But at the end, I still ended up gravitating more towards people who were of African heritage because I felt like culturally we just had a more similar experience, if that makes sense.
Did you almost say better?
No, we had a more similar experience. 'Cause I think it's very different, like being Black in this country, like knowing that, okay, I was brought over here, I'm here as a result of slavery, than when you're Black in this country and you have like, oh, I'm here because my parents brought me here.
Yeah.
It's a very, very different experience. Yeah, because I don't know.
It's funny because so like when I went to the American high school and I seen all these like the Black Americans, I was so excited. I was just like, finally people who look like me.
Yeah.
They're not like they don't speak French, and I was just like, but they were so mean to me.
I've heard of
I'm
it,
like,
yeah.
God damn, like, can you relax over there? They'll literally tell me like, you're not Black, and I'm like, then what am I? And they're like, African.
There's so many. Do you know
I'm like,
something?
Can I just say something? I'm Black and I'm African. You're Black, you're American. That's it, okay? It's just simple like that.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? So, oh my God, yeah. The diaspora conflict is real, okay? Because, like, yeah, I've heard so many stories of like African kids who like grew up here, like in like, unlike me, who grew up in a Black area, right?
Yeah.
And then they were made fun of by Black people for being African.
Really?
And then like
what?
I've also seen, because I grew up in a because I grew up in a really white area, but my parents, they did a really good job of still keeping me very much rooted in the African community. Like we always did events. We always had people over at our house. Like I very much knew I was African.
Don't remind me of those events. Sorry.
And the minute I entered my household, like I left America at the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from what I gathered from like the African community, like they held a hostility towards the Black community as well, you know? And I just think, why does that happen? It's just so strange to me,
so
because
weird,
at the end of the day, like a person who isn't Black isn't gonna interact with us any differently. Does that make sense? Like, we look Black to the world. It really doesn't matter. They're not going to be like, oh, this person is Rwandan. Oh, wait, no, this person's Black American.
You know what?
It doesn't matter.
Actually, it does. Like, some people do treat me like, literally, I've had conversation with people where actually do treat like Africans better than fucking Americans.
You know what? You're
Black
right.
Americans,
If you have an accent, if you have an accent, but for me, I don't have an accent. So
but
my
you don't look like you're from here, though.
Oh, well, tell that to a white person. No. What are you talking about? What? No. Honestly, it's only when I'm interacting with other like Black people that they think, that they assume, you must be African. But if the person's not Black, they're not gonna know. How are they gonna know?
Yeah. That's true. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I've heard of that, and that just it's a shame. It really is.
It is a shame because I've had conversation with like white people from here, and they tell me like, because you have an accent, they tell me like we treat people with accent way better than people from here. I'm like,
wow, at least they admit their own racism. That's great.
And I'm like, why are you giving me this conversation?
Yeah,
I feel like almost like it's like betraying my community when they have this conversation. But I'm also, I feel like because I'm so open that I do welcome conversation. I'm open to conversation, and we can agree to disagree or whatever, but like I'm always open to whatever you need to say, and I might check you. I might be like, nah, that's not how it is, but like, yeah.
That's crazy.
It is
crazy. Yeah. But that's actually really interesting because so my dad especially has a very thick accent. And I remember when like we were living in Idaho and stuff, if he ever got pulled over by the cops or something, the way this man would just like increase his accent and start acting like he just got in this country. And my mom does this too. Her accent is almost like gone at this point. But the minute she gets caught by she'll just increase her accent and act like she does not know left from right, up from down, like nothing. Okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But my older brother, right, who's like me, like very Americanized, no accent or anything like that. Like the way the cops interact with him, very, very different. Very different.
That's
a lot
true.
more scary. Yeah,
That's true.
That's actually true. Like I think when you have like the accent, I don't know why. I don't think this should happen because it's like at the end of the day, it's just discrimination. You know,
it is
like it's discrimination. They somehow think that okay, like you have an accent, so you're not an actual Black American, so we can't, Versus if they know you're. It's wrong. It's so wrong.
That's true because like sometimes I get pulled over by cops. I'm like, is there something that's written on my file that says "let me go"? Because I know, but I do know because I do realize that they give me a pass because I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, if I was from here,
they hear the accent.
I'd be
they're
in
just
jail
like,
right now. No, let me stop.
Oh, look at this clueless and naive foreigner doesn't know our freaking laws and stuff. Yeah.
Wasn't this because like my dad was a diplomat? I just feel like sometimes there's a father says, "This girl is a diplomat. Do not touch untouchable."
Maybe
that's how I feel sometimes. But you never know.
I always forget you come from a very high class, upper class family. Look at you.
It's not really like I wouldn't say high class, but like it is. I mean, we're diplomats.
Diplomat.
It's very
class.
Like that's true. It is upper class and and you're forever a diplomat forever.
Yeah.
Like so, my dad is always. Granted, he's passed, but like he that title, the ambassador title, is always sticks with him forever.
Yeah.
And but I want to talk about like you mentioned in like how people would always come over at your house all the time. Do they come unannounced?
Oh.
Because Africans do that shit. Back in Burundi, I used to be like, we're about to like leave, me and my family. We're about to go have like a good day out to go to a restaurant. And here comes my mom's family, fucking pulling up. And then we had to stay at home. I was like, can you guys call? I used to hate on that. I was like, what?
No, I don't know if they always came unannounced, but I just remember that we would always be going to people's houses or people would be coming to our house and whatnot. But it was, it was all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Every weekend we had something going on.
Is there like a huge like African community here in Arizona that you and your parents like hang around with?
Oh yeah, definitely. And
Yeah?
I think that's something I actually kind of appreciate about Africans is that like we know how to seek each other out. We really, really do. Like the minute this guy in Washington, he's gonna try to connect you with his cousin's brother in like Arizona and be like, oh, you guys are going down there, like we know how to connect. We know how to seek each other out. Because like when my parents first announced they were moving to Arizona, we had already built like such a big community, right, of like Africans. And the minute they heard that, they're like, okay, well, like we know this person in Arizona, blah 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 blah, already trying to like get us to introduced in the African community here. So.
That's true. Like I remember that stuff. Like especially on the East Coast, like there's like so many Burundians over there that like it was always something like. And because my dad was a diplomat, it was like I feel like we always had like guests all the time. That shit drove me nuts. I'm like, can I have a day? Can I have a day off? because literally like we were the servants, okay?
Yeah.
Even though we had like people who work for us, no, they were like, we don't want them to do today. Like you guys come and serve us the beer, like a whole freaking tray and stuff. Fucking, like, I'm like, Mom and Dad, like, calm down. I'm like, I'm going to sleep today. I'm not going to be around for this nonsense.
Yeah.
But I miss that sometimes. But because I feel like my dad passed, like, I don't really hang out with a lot of Africans, especially Burundians. So especially in Arizona, I don't really know. I mean, last time I did link up with a Burundian DJ, and that was fucking awesome. It was such a pleasure. It was good to be around like Africans. Yeah. So if you ever want to see Africans, go to Loyalty Lounge, because that's where they be at. Okay, I might be living there from now on. Okay.
That's funny because because of my dad. Like my dad is very like culturally very Rwandan, and he's very proud of his heritage.
Oh, so is my dad. It's like
so a lot of the Africans we hang around are Rwandan and like are Burundian. I don't know what's up with East Africans, like Tanzanians and Kenyans, because my mom is Tanzanian and stuff, but like I really don't be seeing them that often. I don't know where they are. I don't know where they're at. Like
That's
they're just.
true. I've never.
Do they leave Tanzania? I don't think they leave.
Tanzania is a peaceful country, though, right?
It's a pretty peaceful.
So why would they need to leave?
Why would they need to leave?
Because
Yeah,
most of the times I feel like a lot of Burundians left because there was
You're
war.
right. Yeah, they wouldn't.
Otherwise,
leave
I feel like
unless
I don't
there
know
was
why would anybody
yeah.
leave. Like it's such a beautiful like tropical country.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Like
that's
I
so
would
true.
be in there right now because Arizona is like this weather in Arizona right now is not
It's
it.
not it. There's no oceans either. Are you kidding me?
What?
No. Yeah.
I'm like, and I can't go to LA because
There's no lakes.
LA is like kind of like cold for me. After you've been to Arizona, LA is like what?
It can get a little frisky.
It's always freezing.
Yeah.
Right?
It
Every
can
time I
get
go there, I'm like, what is this?
a little brisk there. Yeah. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I feel like I never was. But yeah, my dad is like really immersed in like the Rwandan community. You know.
Yeah.
So next time there's an event, I'm dragging you along with
You
me.
better, girl.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because every time I meet Africans here, they're like, they always ask me, like, are you sure you're African?
They're gonna see
the tattoos, I know.
and they're gonna see
The
the piercings,
but
and they're gonna be like, "You're."
But it's funny, but if you really look back in the history,
Yeah.
like you look at like
It happened.
Africans, like,
Yeah.
they had tattoos, they had piercings, they
yeah.
had all those things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm trying to bring it back.
Yeah.
What you know about that?
Yeah. I don't know if Rwandans do that though.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't even think Burundians
I think
do that.
I think Rwandans are like some of the most reserved Africans ever. Like they're just. I don't think.
I feel like
yeah.
Burundians are that too.
Burundians
There's
are
like,
that,
I've
yeah.
never seen, to be honest, I've never met any like African women who are tatted.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it's okay though.
Yeah,
I
it's
wanted to set
very
myself
rare.
apart from everyone.
It's ve- you
And
know-
I've been very rebel. I'm such a rebel. Like,
You know-
my dad always knew this. Like, the moment we came here in the country, like, I used to go to this, whenever we go to grocery store, and I would always get, like, you know, there's like, you put 25 cents, and then you get, like, a little sticker,
Yeah.
and you put it on yourself. So I used to, every time we go to the store, I'm like, Mom, Dad, please give me one.
Yeah.
And I'd always put them. So my first tattoo, my mom seen it, and it was like, oh, it's one of those things that you got. It's like, wow, that's a big one. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I know, Mom. And then a week later, she's like, Doreen, what is that again? Is that still the same tattoo? And I'm like, Mom, it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. I can't remove it
Wow,
again.
you're bold. You know, I didn't get my first tattoo till I was 18. It's really small. It's like right behind my ear.
Let me
It's a
see.
flower.
What?
don't
I didn't
know.
even
I always
know.
forget about it. It's
Oh
like a
my
little
God, that's
flower.
crazy.
Yeah.
Do your parents know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The minute I stepped, like the day I got it, I got home. The minute I stepped foot in the door, my mom was like, "Something's different about you."
Did you have
She
like
was
a Band-Aid or something?
Something's off. No.
No?
I had like my hair, my braids were like covering it.
Yeah.
Like she was like, "Something's different about you. Stand there for a second. Let me see you." And I'm like, "What?" This woman starts inspecting my body, and then she finds the tattoo, and she's like, "Oh my gosh."
It's a disgrace.
She's like, "Do you even want a job? Do you even want a successful career?"
I told myself, I don't want a job, okay? No more.
Oh my gosh. But it was, yeah, that woman is a witch. I swear to God.
You hear
She's
that,
a
Mom?
witch.
She's talking about you, okay?
Okay. She told me her great grandmother was like a priestess. That woman is a witch. She comes from a lineage of witches because the way she just knew the minute I entered my house. No.
It's unreal.
That's unreal. That's supernatural powers right there. But yeah.
Dude, I feel like sometimes I have this kind of supernatural powers.
Yeah.
Because I'll be having dreams, and then like I'll be having dreams about people, and then I hit them up, and then there's something wrong with them.
Really?
There's something going on with them around that time.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, should I tell them I had a dream? I'm just gonna check up on them and see how they're doing. Like last time I had a dream about Ari, and then I told her about it, and then she was like, no, I didn't tell her about it. She was like, hey, are you okay? And then she was like, did you have a dream about me? And I was like, yeah, I did. And then I was like, I had a dream that you had COVID or something, or some shit like that. And then you ended up texting us saying that I'm sick. Literally 2 days after. So like sometimes I feel like I pick up vibes.
Yeah.
And it's somehow it's connected. So last time I was like, hey Ari, I'm picking up vibes like pregnancy vibes.
Yeah.
I was like, are you pregnant? She was like, no, but my brother just told me that he's having a baby soon.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's crazy. And I'm like,
Whoa.
it scares me sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah.
stop it, Doreen. But yeah,
so
but
cool.
it's crazy. I feel like sometimes like
Yeah.
Africans have that.
Yeah, I don't know what it, yeah, because I think if you like, because Africans,
especially if you tapped into it, like I feel like
because like before like Europeans came and colonized and brought their religions and stuff, like most of our spirituality was very ancestral and very like, you know, in tune with nature.
That's true.
So I think that, honestly, because some of the things my mom she senses like instantly. I'm just like, how, woman?
Can you calm down?
Calm down. Oh, do you know this about me?
That's crazy. Are you religious at all? Did you guys like ever join any religion?
Yeah, my dad is very much like Roman Catholic, like his family Roman Catholic. So I grew up Roman Catholic.
Yeah. And, you're supposed to take your mom's religion though.
Yeah, but my mom doesn't really. I don't know. She's religious in a sense, but not as like religious as my dad is. Yeah.
Do you guys go to church and stuff like that?
Yeah, all the time growing up and stuff. Yeah, like
me too.
We
used
to
to
church
do it
every Sunday. I even did Bible studies every Tuesday.
Yeah, I never did Bible study, but we did like the whole like
Sunday school.
Yeah,
we did Sunday school too.
And after that, I started getting bored. We were like, can we not? And then we like for a while we stopped going to church. We would just go to church like on like Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Yeah, no, I did not.
I'm like, what kind of religion is this?
And I honestly, I think when parents force their kids to like do religious activities, that's what makes them not like religion. Because like my little brother, because my parents did that with me and my older brother, and we don't really like going to church that much as a result now.
Yeah.
Like, but my little brother instead, like they literally gave him the option, right? They're like, okay, you can attend with us, right? And he started a Bible study with his friends, like just by himself, like decided, me and my friends are gonna start a Bible study group. Like he's involved in like a youth group and stuff.
Oh my
like,
God,
I'm like, wow, good for you. That's what happens when you give kids choice.
Freedom,
you give them freedom.
Yeah, like, okay, you get to choose. Yeah, but it's so funny. Choose. Like parents always do that. They're very strict.
Yeah.
Towards like the older kids.
The oldest, yeah.
And then eventually they like kind of like slow down.
Yeah.
Because I see my mom, the way she be treating my sisters. I'm like, you did not let me do any of this. That's why I'm like, you know what? Ask for permission. No, I'm not gonna ask for permission. I'm gonna be asking for forgiveness.
Right? Yeah.
Literally, you know how many freaking forgiveness letter I used to write to my parents? Dear Dad and Mom, I am sorry. I would never do this again. I actually just found a letter and I was like, oh gosh, this is so.
Oh my God.
It was like cringe-worthy. I was like, I can't believe I wrote this nonsense.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Like, growing up African in America, when you have African parents, like it can be so difficult, like trying to explain like certain like cultural things.
That's
to, like,
true.
other
They didn't
people.
understand. Like I'll be like, I'm trying to do this so I can be a part of this community.
Yeah.
You guys are ruining it for me.
Yeah.
Dude, my dad got mad at me one time. He cut my hair. Just because I decided not to skip school one day. You know what he did? He punished me by cutting my hair.
Really?
At the French international
your parents
school.
were strict.
My dad was fucking strict. I literally watched my mom and my sisters say, you guys are literally gonna let this happen? I looked at them, I was like, okay, cool. You guys are not my you're not my family.
You know, I think the longer African parents stay in America, it like eventually softens them out. You know?
It does, yeah.
It really, really does. Because I remember when we first got here. Oh yeah, my parents were very strict in this, like with like discipline and stuff.
Oh my God,
I remember. Did you ever have to do the kneeling thing? Like if you got in trouble, you'd have to kneel
all the time
for like an hour.
All the time.
Yeah.
Especially in Burundi. Mm-hmm. Like my dad used to do this thing where like as soon as he gets home from work, we would kneel and like praise him. Like all the time, like saying hi, Dad, and then of course, like if we got in trouble, of course he would like make us kneel. That's crazy. That's so funny, dude. I have forgotten so long.
Yeah,
that's why my knees are so fucking black. Because I used to be on my knees, even at the non-school that I used to go to. Mm-hmm. So like in Burundi, like they would punish you. They were a lot like in Africa, the teacher can punish you. So they would bring like there's like the whip. They'll whip you if you got in trouble, and they'll make you kneel. There's a time when like all the the classroom was talking while the teacher was away, and then they made us go. And the punishment was like they would make us go out of the classroom and make us kneel outside, so all the other classes around can see you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. That's why I'm like. That's why when I came in America, I'm like, what? They don't do any of this? I can just get and do whatever I want.
They don't beat the kids' in class? Oh my God.
They don't. You mean I can walk out of this class and no one is going to come?
I know. That's the it takes a village mentality of Africa. Like literally anyone could lay your hands on your kids because, we have that whole it takes a village.
Like, I dare you. to come for my kids. I would not be okay with that. That's crazy. Like how I used to be like, Dad, you're okay with like somebody beating me up? I'm your child. You don't even do that often. So what makes you think like I'm okay with it? But I was a good child. I feel like I was a good child growing up until like I came to the United States, and I was always like doing good things by my parents. But then I started noticing like they would always say no to me when I asked them like, can I go out with my friends? They would say no. But I'm like, you guys trust me with everything. Why won't you let me?
Yeah, I get you.
And I started seeing that. I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna start doing whatever I want, and now I'll just be like writing this forgiveness letter forever.
No, it can definitely be too much sometimes.
It was.
Yeah, it really can. Like that's why sometimes honestly I'm very grateful for my parents because they're strict in a sense, but like at the same time, especially my mom. Like my mom is very open to change, and she's very open to learning and growing, and so. Even though like, she was taught a certain way, right? Like she was one who really pushed for us to still get our own, like have our own sense of freedom and stuff. And like, hey, if we trust our kids, we should let them, do that. So, she really advocated for us in the household. I appreciate that. I want to bring this up because I noticed too, like, I knew this one girl in my town, also African. She was a couple years older than me and stuff. And she had really, really like strict parents to the point where like she could literally just go like, she literally just went to home, then like school, home, school, like nowhere else.
That's true.
She wasn't allowed to do anything else. Very smart girl, straight A student, extracurriculars, like brilliant,
like nonstop, right?
And that's like very typical of an African household. Like you kind of have to do good in school.
That's
like,
true.
Literally,
like,
yeah.
It's like, why did I bring you to America?
Yeah. So like that's very typical,
like,
right?
Why did I bring you to America if you're not
even going to be good at school? Yeah, it's very typical. But yeah, when after she graduated from high school and stuff, like in college, she went crazy because when you don't like let your kids,
have a little bit of freedom
and do that, they're not gonna know that balance. They're not gonna know how to do that. Some of them just like go off the edge and just.
That's true. That's what I was saying.
They go crazy, yeah. So I think it's really good to have like a balance of like knowing, okay, yes, discipline, but at the same time, you gotta let your kids grow.
Yeah, that's
you gotta
true.
let them.
I feel like my parents kind of like let shit slide with my older sister though. They would let her do whatever she wanted. She had like a huge party in my house one time. Why we're ambassador? And I'm like, but like when it was my year, the next year, they were like, no, Doreen, you can't have a party. I'm like, okay, cool. Watch me I'm gonna do the most right now because I'm like, I'm not okay with this. Did your parents ever do anything embarrassing like that's like foreign? That you're like, oh my God, because my mom used to come like with her freaking African clothes. I'm like, Mom, do you really have to wear African clothes to pick me up at school? And I would be like, can you pick me up like far away so nobody sees you?
Yeah.
But that was like back then. That's how I felt. But now I would be like,
right?
Right now I would be like all over that. Like, yes, do it. I don't care.
I totally feel it. Yeah, I remember back then I would be so embarrassed if my parents like showed they were African, you know what I mean? I was like, why are you doing this?
I know. I'm like, can you not?
Can you not? But now I'm just like, why? That was literally just like
It's because we wanted to belong.
We were trying to assimilate.
Yeah, we wanted to belong in this community of like the school.
Yeah. Now I'm realizing I know culture is beautiful.
That's true.
Diversity is beautiful. Like, yo, you be African. I remember one time my mom literally disciplined my little brother at like a barbecue we were throwing over at our house, like for our neighbors. Our white neighbors were there, and like in the middle of the fucking barbecue, because my brother was, I'm not gonna lie, he was acting up. Okay, he was acting up, and literally like she just took him into the room, and then you can just hear her just like this little boy is crying out, and I'm like, oh my God.
You're probably like,
not
oh my
in
God,
front of the Caucasians, not in front of the Caucasians.
They might call fucking child services on you. I'm like,
yeah.
That's funny because like if you look at like the way kids are raised in Africa, I'm like, you'll be calling child services on them all the time. But it actually makes you like humble, like it makes you like disciplined a little bit.
But I just sometimes I think about them and I'm just like, wow. My parents. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna cut it off. I'm sure I'm gonna have her as a guest again because it's such a fun to be conversating with you. It just felt so easy. Like I feel like we didn't have to try so hard. But thank you, Yvonne, for coming through. All right. Thank you for tuning in episode 3 of Destination Unknown podcast with Doreen. Peace and out.